Number 4. Aql-REASON or consciousness, and NAFS, lower self or selfishness. Know also, brother, that there is a great difference between reason, Aql, on the one side, and instinct or the subconscious mind, NAFS, on the other. If you know this difference and realize it at the right time, you will never meet with any difficulty in any matter, because you will know how to act, always remaining on the direct path, the Sirat al-Mustaqim. Reason, Aql, is the faculty which always shows you the right way, not permitting you to stray from it. Reason is what you have to worship God with. Gaining the blessing of eternal life, of entrance into paradise, and a permanent abode in it. NAFS, or the subconscious and emotional self, is the opposite of reason. If you consider it properly and reflect a little, you will find that it is the real enemy of your entire self. Not only of reason, a powerful adversary. Though ordinarily one must obey the dictates of reason, one's nafs distracts them, obstructing the way and keeping one in conflict with the dictates of one's reason, preventing one from becoming nearer to God. Even if sometimes the nafs shows one the way of devotion, this may be against the will of God. It is an inimical principle which does not permit one to attain the desired goal. It invents all possible obstacles in the path. It comes up in the dress of a friend, a real wolf in a lamb's skin, insinuating itself. It persuades you to commit mischief. Of what use are then your woes and wails? God has left amongst you a guide or proof, Hujjat, who shows the right way which you have to follow. If you do not follow it, this is your own fault. Understand then once and for all the difference between these two, between the friend and the enemy, and then do not step off the road. It is said in the Quran, quote, "We have shown you the way of good and the way of evil," unquote. And in another place, there is another reference to the same matter. Quote, "We have pointed out to humanity the way on which they may be restful," unquote. Thus, either accept with profound gratitude this great blessing and follow the right way, or if you fail to realize its value, you have to be with the unbelievers, kafir, who close their eyes to the necessity of the grateful appreciation of the blessing of God and thus go the wrong way. Verily, what blessing is greater and more desirable than to feel oneself on the right path, the straight road, Sirat al-Mustaqim, and thus being safely guided, saved from errors, clearly seeing the right haq from the wrong batil, and abstaining from it. If you realize the great value of this, and if you apply this your knowledge whenever you are in a difficult position, you will never act wrongly, always knowing what to do. It is for you to decide which way you will follow, reason, Aql, or the lower self, nafs. It is for you to choose. Only realize that what deviates you from the right way and keeps you from obedience to God is the nafs. and you cannot imagine what misfortunes may come from following the temptations of the nafs. If you stray into the path of evil, if you do not observe the prescriptions of religion, if you are ungrateful for the great blessing of life or existence which is given to you, and even go so far as to hold religion in contempt, committing the sin of obstinate ingratitude, kufran, or suppose that the way suggested by the desires of your lower self is the right way of acting, then, after all this, you may stray so far as to become one of those who are outside the true religion. The more you follow the impulses of your lower self nafs, the more you will stray from the only true way. So far, indeed, that gradually you may come to the state when you act contrary to your own avowed intentions. The poet says well, quote, "It is the mirror which is turned to the west. Your face is turned towards the east. So I am Alice, going away from you." Thus, if you have the power to see or think properly about yourself, you may notice that you are not followers of the religion, because worship really means obedience to its dictates. And if you obey the impulses of your lower self, this means that you worship it. But if you worship it, it means that you do not worship God. This is why I said that your lower self is an enemy, pretending to be your friend, but in reality misleading you. The Quran speaks clearly about this. Quote, "Have you seen those who have taken as their deity their own instincts and impulses, which are the same as the habits of beasts?" Unquote. You obey them and worship them, giving up following reason, which causes you to follow the right way and abandoning the manner of angels. If you do this, then see what happens, and how much shame and disgrace you invoke upon yourselves. Think over this carefully. How many people condemn the Hindus for their worshipping idols? They do not know what the Hindus worship, but to worship one's own bad habits is 1,000 times worse than to worship a stone. These bad habits are the same as those of beasts, and it is these that you worship. This is why I said that it brings complete ruin, like complete bankruptcy in trade. Just as it is said in the Quran, Surah 4, verse 118, quote, "They lose with a manifest loss," unquote. Do realize, brother, that your way is one only, namely the right way. Those whom you see in this world, they have strayed from it. It is quite immaterial whether one strays a little or much, just as it is quite immaterial for a person who is drowned whether there is very little water over their head or as much as in the deepest sea. Strive not to deviate from the right path even a little. Do not permit the devil to deceive. If the lower self overpowers you, subjecting you to its caprices, then you will become miserable, a helpless toy in the hands of a wicked enemy, worshipping it and slavishly complying with its unceasing demands. What reply then will you give to the voice of God? What will you answer to the words of God? As in the Quranic verse, Surah 36, verse 60, quote, "Humanity, did I not make a covenant with you that you will not serve the devil? He is verily your open enemy. Unquote. Everyone who easily obeys the caprices of their lower self, the evil one, must be prepared to answer this question of God. Therefore, brother, do not become infatuated with the things of the world that you possess. Suppress the impulses of your lower self, and do not tie up so much your thought with the matters of the worldly life. Realize that if you do not permit the external world to trample you under its feet, you will command it. It is said in the Quran that all that is found in the heaven and the earth is under your command. This means that those who can understand properly can see that this is true. Reflect, brother, and understand what great wealth is given to you, for which you must be thankful. And if you cannot make yourself obedient and want to cease further efforts, I will tell you that humanity must have in this world a leader, Peshwa. But more on this will be said in its proper place. If I say, keep away from the matters of this world, this means that you must take hold of the assistance of the person for whose existence all the things of this world have been created. With their help, they may be subdued to you. Reflect, what is better? To covet these things which, after all, will master you, or to be obedient to one person only, and by the means of this obedience to become the master of all things.